Let's talk about modal verbs, more specifically, 5 really popular modal verbs that can completely change the meaning of a sentence. Because grammar has the power to change the emotional connection, the energy of a conversation. And I will prove that to you. I will use the same sentence and use different modal verbs in the same phrase, and you are going to get an entirely different idea, completely different vibe. So make sure to watch this lesson until the end. I will give you examples and explanations that will make this really practical, easy, objective, so that you understand the 5 modal verbs that many English learners confuse a little. And also, I prepared a 7-page worksheet. It is not free, but the price is really low. It's a small fee that you can or not, it doesn't matter if you don't. Just watch this lesson. It should be more than enough. But if you want additional exercises and explanations, there are 5 exercises. One is listening. I prepared a listening exercise, yes, plus other complements, some additional explanations. So you can get that link in the description. But let's move on. Let's talk about the good stuff, shall we? Go. Let's go. I'm going to use the verb go in every example that I'm going to show you here, okay? So every example will have the verb go, and every example will have a different modal verb, so that you understand the difference, so that you can see. Because at an intermediate level, this lesson is for students at a pre-intermediate and intermediate level. You might still be a little confused about what modal verb to use. If you should use one, if you should use another, if it's may, if it's must, if it's can. But after today, it'll be simple for you to understand, okay? And the first modal verb we're going to check out is must. You must go. Not yet. Stay, okay? Stay with me until the end. Don't go yet. But you must go. That's a very intense sentence. We typically understand must as obligation, and it is true. It does show authority, okay? But it also shows some level of urgency. It is serious. There is this element of drama. It is a little bit dramatic, but the authority is there. It is a little bit controlling. There's a lot of authority. I'm being bossy. You must go right now, sir. So it is extremely important. Typically, it means there's no other option. You must go. No other option, okay? So it's bossy. There's a lot of emotional pressure here. So when you use must, that's the idea. And why is this relevant? Why does this matter? Many English learners tend to pick must, and they don't really understand, okay? So you have to be careful that when you use must, you're going to sound a little bit more dramatic. It is very direct. It's direct, it's straightforward. So depending on the conversation, it's not a good idea to use that, okay? That's something you need to understand, that sometimes being too direct, being too dramatic, being too bossy may not be a nice moment, a nice gesture. That's why you need to understand the emotional energy. So avoid using must when you're trying to be more polite, when you're trying to have more casual conversations, when you're talking to someone who is higher in hierarchy than you. They have more authority than you. So you're not going to use must with them. Unless you're talking about law, legal things that cannot be changed, that really have to be obeyed and followed, then it's a different story. But if that's not the case, then there are better ways to tell someone, hey, you should go. I think you should go. And you will see that native speakers will even add other words to make it lighter. Like, hey, I think you should go. I think you need to go. And when someone tells you that, hey, I think you need to go, they are not showing that, oh, let's see if you go or not. They want you to go. They're just being polite. They're just making it lighter. Okay? But when you use must, there's a lot of energy there. There's a lot of pressure there. Depending on the sentence, there's a little bit of drama. Like the example that I wrote here, you must come to my party. That may be a possibility. You may hear some native speakers saying that. But look at the tone, the conversation level, the drama level. Oh, you must come. Look at my facial expression. Because depending on my facial expression, maybe I'm trying to be nice, but if my face doesn't look nice, then the person will understand that you're being bossy and showing authority when you shouldn't. Okay? So let me know if that's clear. Okay? Put here clear in the comments. Crystal clear, Teacher Prix. The second one, should. You should go. And guys, I can be aggressive with should because we always think, oh, should is so polite. It's so nice, you know. It is so good when you're using should. It's a piece of advice. It's recommendation. Yeah, but use an angry intonation. That changes the game. Communication is about energy. And depending on the energy you put in your voice, you're going to describe a completely different idea. Obviously, the book is right. Should is used to talk about recommendation, sharing your opinion. It does have less pressure. I am giving my advice, my piece of advice, you know. You have a choice. You decide. But I also need to pay attention to my tone, to the conversation where I am. But when I tell someone, you should go, the idea is I'm giving you a choice. You still have a choice. You can still decide by yourself, you know, you can still make the decision, but you do have some sort of choice. Depending on the context, you don't. I'm just being polite. Hey, you should go. No, but let's talk. You should go. See? Depending on the conversation, you don't really have a choice. I'm just being polite. Okay? Because when I am using should, the sentence will feel conversational, will feel helpful. Because when I'm using should, I'm telling people what I believe they need to do. My recommendation, my opinion, my best piece of advice. So it is helpful, it is caring, I care about you. You know what? You had a difficult day, you should go home. I'm thinking about you. I care about you. I know that you had a difficult day, so you should go, you know, get something to eat, sleep on it, and then we can talk about it tomorrow. That's the idea. Okay? Another one here, conversation. It's very conversation. It's very common in everyday conversation. And why this matters? Priscilla, why is this relevant? This is the most natural one. When you're giving recommendations, when you're sharing your opinion in the sense of telling someone what they should do, it is less aggressive, okay, much less, much less. It is more emotionally intelligent. You're telling someone what you believe they need to do, they have to do, but the language is not aggressive. The language is really appropriate, okay? And many times I come here, I don't tell you like you must do this, you must do that, you must subscribe to my channel. No, you should. It's a good idea. You should subscribe. You should consider subscribing. So you shouldn't use, it's not a good idea to use should when you're giving strict rules, rules that cannot be broken, rules that must be followed. Then you cannot use should. Okay? When you're talking about something that is absolutely necessary, then should is too soft. Not a good idea. You should wear a seatbelt when you're driving. That's not strong enough. You must wear a seatbelt. Otherwise, you could cause an accident or you can get a ticket if you don't wear a seatbelt. So you must wear one. It's according to the law. You must wear a seatbelt when you're traveling by airplane. You know, you must fasten your seatbelt and let's go. It's a law. It's a rule. So when talking about rules, should disappears. You could go. Hey, you could go. What does that mean? Here is where things have a little bit more freedom. It's possibility, freedom, a suggestion. It's flexible. It is open. It's not pushy, go, do it. You could go. It's natural. And I'm trying to convey the idea that it is an option at the end of the day. You do have the option. You could go, you could stay. Okay? When I use must, it's pressure. When I use could, it's possibility, it's freedom, it's decision. Okay? It's just one possible option. So you could go to the meeting if you want. Think about could in this case as if you want. Hey, you could come if you want. You could go to the meeting. You could go see a movie if you want. Because it is option. That's the idea of could. And this is a very good one. It really sets the tone here. Because I'm not telling you that, hey, mandatory, you must go. I'm not saying, hey, it's my recommendation, you should go. With could, it's an option, it's a possibility. You could go. I mean, it's fine. I don't mind. And this is something that English native speakers actually love doing. They love softening strong messages. So they will tend to soften their communication everywhere you go. Whether you're Canadian, American, it doesn't matter. So could is a good one, okay? Talk to your manager. Hey, you could talk to your manager and try to find a solution. That's just opening this discussion. You should talk to your manager. Now it's my recommendation. You must talk to your manager. Now I'm not really giving you a choice. But when you could, hey, it's way softer. It's very diplomatic, not controlling. But could doesn't work if I am giving a strong recommendation. If I am expressing urgency, if it's something urgent, immediate, then could will not work. If I'm talking about necessity, doesn't work. You could leave the meeting, you could leave the building immediately. It doesn't work because immediately it means now. And could will not reflect that idea whatsoever. It won't work. So you can't use could. So you see, all of these modal verbs express different energies, different emotional energies when you're talking to people in English. That's really important, guys. You might go. Yeah, you might go. Yeah, it's a possibility. You're watching this now, but you might go. I like might because might is the uncertain zone. It expresses uncertainty. You don't know. You don't know jack, okay? You're not sure. You may go, you may not go. May is another one, but not for the focus here. But you might go is, I'm not sure. Maybe yes, maybe no. So there is hesitation. When people use might with you, there's a lot of hesitation, ambiguity. We don't know. I'm not sure. It might rain. It might not rain. I have no clue. That's the energy. I don't know. And if you use might properly, which should be used because it is natural, it is very conversational, you will sound more advanced if you use might when you should use might. And that is when you don't know, when you're uncertain about things. Not when you're giving advice, when you're telling people what to do. No, when you're giving recommendations, absolutely not. No. It's very similar to maybe. Yes, no, maybe. But here it's a modal verb, might. And this is important because it's interesting to sound uncertain at the right time. We have other words such as probably, could, can also give that idea, but might is stronger in the sense of uncertainty. I am not certain at all. This might work. This might not work. This plan might work. If you hear someone saying this, oh, this plan might work. Might work. Not strong at all. You don't know. You're really uncertain. You are on the fence. Could I say, this could work? Yes, you could. It's a little stronger than might. but not as strong as my might is weaker. Okay, really, I don't know. I really don't know. But if you use could, you know a little more. So when you're certain, don't. When you're very close to certain, don't use might. When you're giving instructions, don't use might. When you want to show confidence, don't use might. You might want to subscribe to my channel. You should subscribe to my channel because it's a good one. Because might indicates uncertainty. So I'm not going to express confidence if I am using might. Not because you're not confident. It's not that I'm confident, I'm not confident. It's just that the message, okay, if I want to express confidence with the message, might's not a good idea. And finally, you can go. Woo, the most neutral one, okay? Very natural, by the way. You can use go. It is wonderful. You should use go. You should use can whenever you want to, okay? Can is an excellent modal verb. It does express the idea of neutrality. It's really natural, slightly neutral. It does indicate permission, even though it's not technically one to give permission, but it is used to give permission, okay? Ability, possibility. When we think about permission, may is your best friend here. You may go now. I'm giving you permission to go, okay? I'm giving you permission to go. You must go. It's an order. Go, obligation. But you may go. I'm giving you permission to go. Now, can also reflects that I'm giving you permission, but it is less formal. It's not as formal as may, for example. It is often used to talk about possibility. Yes, it is. It is stronger than might and could. Okay, a little stronger. You're not certain either, okay? But it does indicate possibility in terms of something being possible, like maybe it'll happen, or something it's possible. It can happen, okay? That's also something to understand this interpretation of possibility. It's possible for you to do. It's possible for you to go. I can help you. It's possible for me to help you. I can give you my notes. It's possible for me to give you my notes. That's the idea of possible, okay? So it's not really emotional. It's not as strong in terms of emotion, okay? Oh, but Priscilla, what if the person is screaming, can you help me? Yes, but the phrase, this is a very common phrase in movies, but the strong word is help, okay? Can anybody help me? Can anybody hear me? And typically, it's the most important verb is the action. Hear me, help me, see me, okay? And can is also indicating the ability. Can anybody hear me? Is it possible? Does anyone hear me right now? That's ability, okay? So that's a very important observation here. And guys, many students overuse can. Yes, I know you like can. I know you want to use can a lot, you know, and it's safe. Okay, it is really safe. But pay attention to your tone, to your emotion, to the intensity you want to show, to the level of politeness, to the level of confidence you want to express. That's why fluency is not just the grammar itself. It's the emotional aspect of communication. I talk a lot about this in my programs. Fluency is about emotions and habits. So there are emotions that we express in our language, in our communication style. This is something you need to work on. If you're stuck right now, you probably need to work on your emotional aspect of the language, not only the actions you're doing. It's both. I teach that in my academy, actually. So when you shouldn't use can, when you're not certain, when you're really uncertain, don't use can. When you're giving emotional advice, it's a really specific emotional situation, don't use can. It's not a good idea to do that. When you want to show a strong obligation, terrible idea to use can, doesn't work, okay? So perhaps when you're trying to tell someone, hey, you have to apologize, you must apologize, you should apologize, so they will sound better. So when you're communicating in English, you also need to pay attention to the tone of the message, to the emotional aspect of learning, okay? And here, oh, let me go over the slides here so that it's a little larger for you guys to see this final message. You might, oh, here it doesn't show. Okay, so let's see it here, okay? So just a quick overview. Remember, must, intensity, obligation, okay? Should, giving advice. You have an option though, okay? I'm giving you options. Could is really, really, really just for options, okay? You could watch a movie tonight, okay? Might, uncertain. I have no freaking idea if this is going to work or not. Can is more neutral. Possibility and permission and ability, okay? Same verb, completely different meaning. You must go, you should go, you might go, you could go, you should go, you might, could, must. Very different meanings depending on the modal verb, but the same verb. So that is very important to understand, okay? So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my materials. I created a worksheet, as you saw it before, you know. You don't need to have it, but there are more explanations and 5 different exercises. One is listening, so that you can practice your modal verbs. And if you're interested, check out my study plan. I think it's going to be very useful for you guys. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!